What do you notice about these two pictures? So they both involve 10. When you look at the picture of the grocery store, we've seen this before, right? Some version of this. So it says 10 items or less. And so we think about who can get in that line. We call who can get in that line the number of items they have, possible solutions. So if I were to think about what those possible solutions could be, right? I could get in the line if I have 10 items, or anything less than 10 items. So 1 item, 8 items, 9 items, 4 items. If I had 0 items, I could still get in the line. If I have 12 items, though, that's not a possible solution because I have to have 10 or less. The gas example is a little bit different because it says contains less than 10% ethanol. So I could have 9% ethanol, I could have 1.5% ethanol, anything that's smaller than 10, right? So it doesn't matter what the numbers look like as long as it's smaller than 10. So I also cannot have 12 because that's not smaller than 10, but I can't have 10 either, right? Because it has to be less than 10. So I could have 9.99999, but I can't have 10. So mathematically, we're going to represent these differently, right? So this x is less than or equal to 10 represents anything that's smaller than 10. And it's just an easier way to write it. Rather than write out all the numbers, you just say x is less than or equal to 10, and that basically says the same idea without writing all the individual numbers out. I could also say down here, right, x is less than 10. So similar idea, the only difference is x cannot be equal to 10, right? So I don't have that little line below it. So they look very similar, but they're very different in terms of one includes 10 and one doesn't. So that's just the main idea to start. If you notice too, they're both pointing to the left. Left means less than. One little idea though is if I flip the 10 and the x, I just have to flip the sign as well. So I could say 10 is greater than or equal to x. It means the same thing. Likewise, I could say that 10 is greater than x, and that means the same thing as x is less than 10, right? I'm just flipping the numbers and the letters, so I have to flip the sign. If I kind of build on the same idea, here we notice the information is the same. I just want to represent the top examples as a model. So I'm going to use a number line. And I want to focus on that 10. So I circle the 10. And to say the same thing, if you notice here, x is less than or equal to 10, that less than arrow looks a lot like the arrow that's pointing to the left. And so I'm going to move in that direction. But first, I'm going to shade that dot. Why do you think that is? Right, because x can be 10. So I'm going to shade whatever x can be. So x can be any of these numbers here that are smaller than 10. And those numbers can just keep counting down forever. The difference on the bottom example is that x is less than 10. So we know that x is still going to start at 10. But the difference here is I'm not going to shade that circle because x cannot be 10. Right? So I'm just going to shade everything below the 10, but I don't color the 10 in.